Hi, and welcome to the fourth of my shows, which takes a look at the selections for football and horse racing over the weekend for this particular show, and for coming up shows, which will be just once weekly after this, a review of this show, and then some horse racing and football tips for the week after that. Now, I've got, as I said during the week, a special bet, which you can treble your money with this particular bet. And I'll be coming on to that at the end of the show, as well as another bet where you can stake £40 on a combination of 4 to 6 horses over 4 races that are taking place in March of next year, and that can return £1,000 for a £40 stake. So a £40 bet for £1,000, and I'll be talking about risk, cost, and reward in relation to gambling, and particularly that kind of bet. But that's coming up at the end of the show. Straight on, though, with today's big football match, which is, of course, Manchester City against Chelsea in the Premier League, English time, and 6:30 to 7:30 Asian time, Southeast Asia. So, of course, and I really quite strongly fancy Manchester City to beat Chelsea in this. Now, Chelsea have won the last 7 matches. However, they, for me, are not as good a side as Manchester City. I think we've not seen the best from Manchester City over the last 3 or 4 games. Prior to that, we saw them in fantastic form. And I just think they just had a little dip for various reasons. De Bruyne was out the side for a little bit. Aguero was out the side for a fraction. Sterling. And they've brought in players that have done well, but they haven't really been, I don't think, able to strike up a rhythm. De Bruyne will be back in today. Aguero certainly is going to start. Sterling we're not too sure about, but they've got Gundogan to come in there. David Silva obviously is going to play, or if he's not going to play, he's certainly going to come on. And I just think all those players are going to cause Chelsea too many problems. I don't think Gary Cahill is the greatest central defenders, and I think he's going to have a nightmare. So I'm quite fancy Manchester City to get 2, 3, or maybe 4 goals. They didn't do that last week, but I think there's a big performance in them. So although Chelsea have won the last 7 matches and kept 6 clean sheets, I'm going for Manchester City to win that game in the Premier League. And for my second football bet of today, I'm going to be placing a bet on Kevin De Bruyne, who I've just mentioned in that game. I think now that he's pretty well back from the injury he had for 2 or 3 weeks, he's been rested as well, so it's given him time to recover. He started and he had a rest and he's back. When he plays, he's just sensational. He makes a difference, and I don't think Manchester City are quite the side without him. And with him almost certainly to start, make sure he is going to start, of course, but assuming that he does start, I think he's going to score a goal at any time in that match, which is a price of 2 to 1. So 2 bets for me on the football today would be Manchester City to beat Chelsea at around 6 to 5, and De Bruyne to score a goal anytime at around about 2 to 1. So straight on then to the horse race meeting at Cheltenham in England in March of next year. Now, there's some horses I fancy in that quite strongly, and I do these bets occasionally where you pick 3 or 4 horses. They're all no more than maybe 2, 3, 4 to 1, something like that. But if you combine them in a 4-horse accumulator, as in this case, you get very, very big accumulative odds. So, for example, the stake that I'm going to suggest is £40, and if all 4 horses win, the return could be 1,000. Now, I'll take you through those horses in order. As I say, they all run in March of next year, but the way this bet works is to get the bet on now, or as soon as possible to now, because as those horses have prep runs between now and March, their price, assuming they run well in those prep runs, will come down hugely. So there's great value in betting on quality horses now, even though you have to wait 3 or 4 months for the money if we're going to win. The odds of these horses in March of next year will be considerably less than what they are now. So for example, £40 stake then could only return about, I say only, it's still a good return, about maybe £150 or £200. So you can see the difference between 200 and 1,000. That's why I go for those, and it's a small investment, it's a small stake, and huge potential reward. And that's where I want to talk about risk, reward, and cost. This bet fits into that category perfectly. It's a small cost, the reward is high, and the risk is very good in percentage terms in relation to the odds quoted by the bookmakers for that risk. So that's how I evaluate something: the cost of the bet, the risk involved, and then the potential reward. So that would differ on different kinds of bets. For something like the Manchester City Chelsea bet, the reward is nowhere near as high because the odds are much smaller. But in terms of a 90-minute football match, I think the risk factor there is pretty good on our side. There's only 3 potential results: a win, a draw, or a loss. And if you strongly fancy a team to win, then you surely have to eliminate the loss. And you've only really got the draw against you if your thinking is correct. So if the reward factor is over the 50-50, then it's a decent reward. In return, in relation to the racing at Cheltenham in March of next year, the reward, as I said, is huge, and the cost is small. So it's worth taking the risk. And if they don't win, or 3 of them win and 1 comes second, then so be it. It's not been a huge loss. But if you get that close when the reward is so much greater than the cost, then again, it's testimony to the bet being a sound bet. So the 4 races then that I'm looking at for this particular bet in Cheltenham are the Arkle Trophy, which is Tuesday, March the 14th, a horse that's running today actually. So if you get the bet on after he runs today, his price will come down significantly because he's going to win today. I'm very confident of that, in his race at around about 3 o'clock, I think, at Sandown Park, UK time. But at the moment he's 2-1 for the Arkle Trophy in March. So he's the first part of the 4 legs of this bet. The second part is 2 horses in a race the same day. The reason I'm doing 2 horses, I'm actually convinced that one of them is going to win. But I'm not quite sure which one. And so if I'm convinced that one of them will win out of 2, it's worth putting 2 in if the return is going to double the stake, which it doubles on top of what we would win, assuming Altior wins. So the 2 horses in that race, which is a champion hurdle on the Tuesday, March the 14th, are Faugine, a previous winner of the race who was off injured last season, fantastic horse, and Annie's Power, the winner of the race last season. Now they're both trained by an amazing trainer in Ireland called Willie Mullins and ridden by an amazing jockey also called Ruby Walsh. But they're not necessarily both going to run, and that's one reason why we've got to do both, because he might well choose to win one of the horses in another race. So I'm flagging up both the horses in that race, which I believe will cover that race. So we have Altior in the Arkle Trophy, and then Faugine and Annie's Power in the champion. In the champion hurdle on the Tuesday. Then the following day, the Wednesday, March the 15th, we have the big race, which is the Queen Mother Champion Chase, and I'm very strong on a horse in that called Douvan. In fact, this horse has 100% record so far. He was going to be a strong bet for me today in a race at Sandown, but he's been withdrawn, possibly because of the ground not being right for him. But his target is, without any question, the Queen Mother Champion Chase on Wednesday, March the 15th. He's at 4-6 at the moment, which is an incredibly short price. But if you run that onto the other 2 horses, it starts mounting up quite a lot. So we've got 3 legs so far, the first leg and the second leg on the Tuesday, the third leg on the Wednesday. And the final leg, with the best odds as well, is on the Friday, the big race, the Cheltenham Gold Cup, Friday, March the 17th. And the 2 horses in that, which I've talked about before, are 2 absolutely outstanding horses. I really love these 2 horses. And when I like 2 horses so much and they're both in the same race at good odds, I think I've got to back them both now. And that's one thing I'm getting onto. And they are, of course, Q Card, who is available at 6-1 still, with some bookmakers, 5-1 with Bet365. And Thistlecrack, who I mentioned in the very first show, is 7-2, which is 3.5-1. So we're putting both of those into that 4-horse accumulator, although there's 6 horses in all. So just to go through that then, the first of those races is on the Tuesday, March the 14th, and it's Altior in the Arkle Trophy at 2-1. And then we have on the same day 2 horses in the Champion Hurdle, Faugine and Annie's Power, 2 previous winners of the race. They are 5 to 2 and 2 to 1. And then we have Douvan in the Champion Chase on the Wednesday at 4 to 6. And then we have Thistle Crack at 7 to 2 and Q Card at between 5 to 1 and 6 to 1 for the Gold Cup on the Friday. A £10 accumulator on any 4 of those that win. So we've got 2 choices in 2 of the races. Will return anything between £600 and £1,000, depending on which of the horses won. So you've got 4 lines of £10 accumulators. If you don't understand that, write down each of the horses I've said in the race, hand it over to the cashier at the betting counter, and then understand it. Or if you're doing internet betting, they'll certainly understand it if you explain it, hopefully, as I have done. So that's it for that 4-horse accumulator. But I've got another bet which encompasses the last 2 in that race. In that bet, which is of course Q Card and Thistle Crack, and I'm going a maximum stake on each of those for the Cheltenham Gold Cup. So, for example, if your maximum stake is £100, then £50 on Thistle Crack and £50 on Q Card. And if Q Card wins, you treble your money. If Thistle Crack wins, then you double your money. So it's double or treble if one of them are 2 very strong horses. That for me is a very good investment. Placing the bet now, races in 3 months' time, and I believe I'm going to double my money at the very least and potentially treble it, depending on which one of the 2 wins. So I've got 2 horses that I think are fantastic in the same race. That's my top bet of all. Thistle Crack and Q Card in the Cheltenham Gold Cup, betting now for that race in March. And my other medium to strong bet, which is also at Cheltenham, is the 4 races, as I mentioned earlier, the 4 races at Cheltenham: the Arkle Trophy, the Queen Mother Champion Chase, the Champion Hurdle, and the Gold Cup. 4 £10 accumulators on those with the potential return of £1,000. And Manchester City to beat Chelsea today. That for me would be a £50 bet if your maximum is 100, and a little bet of £25 on Kevin De Bruyne to score in that game at any time. And if he did score at any time and Manchester City didn't win, you'd actually break even, which isn't too bad. And if Manchester City was to win but De Bruyne didn't score, then you'd make a profit. And if they both came in, then it's a nice evening. So that's it for me. One thing is with the show is I didn't actually want to totally focus on myself. So I want to focus on a man who's been an inspiration in my life for many years now, who sadly died on December the 5th, which is Monday, of course, 3 years ago now, the day I first went to the Philippines, actually. That, of course, is Nelson Mandela. I think he is one of the most incredible human beings that's ever walked on this planet. I think what he went through in terms of incarceration for 27 years in total, and for I don't even know how many years he was at Robben Island in one tiny cell, to get through all that and then become president of his country, and to go through everything that he went through in terms of being beaten and abused, and then to lead your country, is a perfect example of understanding the pain we get in life. Makes us stronger if we can deal with it in the best possible way. And it's of course not easy to do that, but it's also a point of inspiration and hope for anyone, that anyone can get through. If he can get through what he got through, and then to become president of his country. So I want to leave you with a song that was actually written in 1984 by an English band called The Specials, and it's a song called Free Nelson Mandela. It wasn't for another 6 years until February 11th, 1990 that he got released from prison. So I want you to see this song for the pictures. It's 4 minutes long, so please go through it. If you don't know the man, it'd be great. If you're young, you don't know the man, then it'd be a great educational process. And there's a lot of pictures in there of him in that prison cell and then becoming president and moment of freedom. And it's a wonderful journey. It's a marvelous journey, and it's a great example of human endurance, unnecessary disparity in this world, and how to overcome it in the most unbelievable way. Forgiveness was the way Mandela achieved an incredible amount on this planet. And he went on to be a Nobel Peace Prize winner, of course, and is probably one of the most respected human beings ever to walk this earth. But we may never have seen that. So it's a great example. Whatever you do in life, never give up. So I'll leave you with that thought, and please have a look at the images and pictures from my all-time personal human hero. Thanks for listening, and have a great weekend wherever you are. Good night for me.